Like many places, Marinette County has a drug problem. Some call it an epidemic, and the problem is heroin. The coroner says he's seen a dramatic increase in heroin-related deaths in the last year. Tonight, Fox 11 on special assignment will examine what's being done about it, and Robert Hornacek is here with a preview. Good morning.
Good morning, Rachel. You know, when you think of heroin, Marinette County is probably not at the top of your list, but this community, which is just an hour north of Green Bay, has been dealing with this heroin problem for several years, and some people say now it's getting worse. Now, the Marinette County coroner says there have been at least 5 heroin-related deaths in the county in the last year. Now, since many of the people who died had a number of other drugs in their system, he says there's no way to know exactly how many deaths can be blamed directly on the heroin. But just the fact that heroin was involved at all is very troubling to federal law enforcement. I spoke with the head of the DEA in Milwaukee about the problem, specifically about why so many heroin users are ending up dead.
20, 30 years ago, the purity levels were in the 3 to 5% range, and that's why they needed to use needles. Now, when they raise the purity levels, you can snort it or smoke it, but the purity levels that we see now on the street range from anywhere from 20 to 80%. So if you're used to getting something with 40%, and all of a sudden you get a batch that's got 80%, you don't realize that, and that's certainly one of the ways that people overdose.
Now, coming up tonight on Fox 11 News at 9, we'll have an in-depth look at the problem. We're going to hear from a former heroin user, a former heroin dealer, and also some of the families who have been impacted by this drug. And right now, if you'd like to head to our website, fox11online.com, you can check out more of my interview with the head of the DEA in Milwaukee. Just click on the Special Assignment tab.
Why Marinette County?
Well, that's a very good question. Police say in part it can be tracked back to a doctor several years ago who was found to be writing prescriptions for pain medications for people who didn't need them. He got busted as part of a big drug bust in the Upper Peninsula. That supply dried up for many of the users who had become addicted to these painkillers. Oftentimes those users turn to heroin as a second choice drug because it's a lot cheaper and it's, quite frankly, become a lot easier to get. But police also say it's not just Marinette County. The DEA says one of the troubling things about heroin is it's not an urban drug. It used to be, 20, 30 years ago, people assumed heroin is a big city drug. Now it's coming into smaller towns, smaller communities, rural communities. In fact, they said just about every community has some type of heroin problem.
Did you find out what they're trying to do about it?
Well, they're quite frankly trying to do quite a bit about it. They're trying, on the prevention side, they're trying to raise awareness. They're also trying to make sure that people know this is a dangerous drug. If you use it once, you can get addicted to it. It can be very deadly, especially because of those purity levels. At the same time, law enforcement has stepped up its efforts. They're also trying to get tough on it by the court system, by sending users, sending dealers, to make sure they spend some time in prison. So they're really trying a multifaceted approach to the problem, but it's really, there's no way to show right now whether it's working or not.
Good. It'll be eye-opening for a lot of people, I think. Tonight is the full report, Fox 11 News at 9 on Special Assignment with Robert Hornacek. Thanks, Robert.
Yep.
We'll be right back. You're watching Good Day, Wisconsin.